Testing 1, 2, testing. Should be somewhat working now. Testing. Should be working. All good. Thank you. Yep. Yay. Great. Thank you, everyone. Sorry for that. That's why I always like to do multiple sound tests before, because I'm literally playing with this new microphone. It's too much, honestly, for me. All right, looks like we're about a couple more minutes here. Get going. I hope everyone is doing fantastic tonight. Everyone got a nice little sippy drink. I'm just drinking on some hydration water and ready to look at some charts. S&P right now is up a little bit over 0.5%. We got NASDAQ up 0.73%. Gold is up 0.1%. Nothing too exciting there. Yeah, this has been very interesting without a doubt. Thanks, Rock. Appreciate it. Thank you, Rock, Water, everyone great out here. Love it. Ryan, what was is it Thermo Fisher? Didn't they just announce something, Ryan? I had that on my notes for today to ask you, or I was going to ask you in Discord. Wesley, Alan, my fave, Makeshift, what's up, my guy? Check play. We can look at play. All right, this is fantastic, everyone. I appreciate everyone coming out as normally, just getting everything set, ready to go. Let me just check here. Let's see. Okay, make sure sound is still good. Green lines are moving. Fantastic. Okie dokie. Let's make sure that things are operational. Yeah, we're gonna look at all those fun stocks for sure. They haven't had any news. Okay. I thought I read something. Alan S, holy S, this market. Thanks for the $2, my friend. Fantastic. Yes, this market has been pretty cray. We're going to be just kind of doing a very quick overview just on the S&P 500. We'll look at the NASDAQ and the Russell, via the IWM or just the futures market. If you're not if you're part of the Patreon group or the YouTube membership page, or the membership group, whatever they call it now, you've probably already seen this, but we'll just walk through this as well to kind of give a quick guidance of where we could see the markets happening, where could be some overhead. Of course, everyone's ringing that little bell, waving their white flag, saying that the market's too high, everyone's going to crash, blah, 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 blah. That being said, looking here at the S&P 500, we're looking at /ES. That's, again, the futures for the S&P 500. Like we just talked about, up nearly $17 in after hours, and it's just been continuously riding up here again, making another brand new all-time high just as today. We are getting some potential, I don't like to say worrisome signs, but some signs of again, we're hitting these pretty substantial high price targets in the market. That doesn't mean that things are going to be coming crashing down. Just to be 100% regarding on that. As you can look here on the RSI, let me just go to the SPY because I don't like how the S&P or the futures moves like this. So basically on here, you're seeing the high level of the RSI. That is the RSI that we use, or that I use, is more particular. We use the different bands. By default, I believe, if you put it on Thinkorswim, it's 70 and 30. I use 20/80 just to kind of give a better reading. Leo makes a good point. Non-farm payroll on Friday, that's always something to look out for, without a doubt. Even though the dollar is literally getting killed, there's other different components that could bring the market down. again, I think everyone in chat knows, or at least I think everyone knows that no one has a crystal ball, and we just have to ride the waves. We just have to play the market and play to whatever the market gods give us, because there's not really we can't predict and kind of work on things. We just kind of have to have our levels, our rules, and other various components of our trading or investing set in place before we just start throwing YOLO money, because we're not that Wall Street bets crew that just throws in 50K onto purple mattress calls for earnings the next following day. So with the S&P 500 again, showing some significant signs of hitting that upper threshold, but the thing is like we haven't seen a lot of volume come into this. So we're seeing a little bit of a decrease in volume here. That doesn't mean, again, it doesn't come crashing down, but that's showing some potential, not drying up of buying. That just shows a potential more consolidation pattern. That doesn't mean we need to come crashing down, coming all the way down to back to 300. Again, just be mindful that stuff could happen. That being said, it'd be reasonable if we do have a pullback. We call this our macaroon, or our speed light, kind of a gauge of a pullback, showing that the green is somewhat of a normal, somewhat of a pullback. The yellow is going to be some more of like little worrisome, and then red's going to be pretty significant pullback into these levels here. So basically, it would be somewhat I want to say healthy, but it would be nothing out of the ordinary if we did pull back to around 337 to 335. That wouldn't be anything out of the picture, and something that I shouldn't go home and sell all my options and sell all my calls and just go straight cash. Those are other signs that we can significantly see that. So start where are you getting from? You know what they say? What do they say? If yellow touches red, I don't know. I'm going with this. It's like when you see a snake in the wild or some kind of animal. If it's like yellow touches red or kills a fellow, I don't know. I think someone knows what I'm talking about. But we start seeing significant pullback. So I don't think we're going to see anything like this kind of movement. This was just too drastic since the pandemic of just red candles, pull back. Even this whole momentum down, we'd had a couple bounces around the 200-day, but then we never saw the thing come through. Meaning, so if we do pull back, that would be our get out of jail free card if it comes down to this level. And if the averages and the moving averages and the other signs that we look for a healthy continuous of a trend doesn't come back, that's when you have to kind of cut your and reevaluate things. But we're nowhere near that, so just be mindful that I'm not trying to do scare tactics here. We're nowhere near that right now. Ryan's part of that Rocket gang. They have earnings. They come out Tuesday, right? They got a lot of stuff going. Two in the hand, one in the bush. Karen TEW, could you do a quick analysis? Were you the first one that was in the chat? I'm gonna have to do you first. AYTU. Let's do AY. So I'm not sure if you're newer to this. I don't trade penny stocks, and this is exactly what this is. I can't recommend this stock at all because it really just breaks down to the penny side of things, and I don't do well with these very high FOMO mentality things like that. What up, Kelly? How you doing, my friend? I'm not David. Zoom earnings coming. Yeah, Zoom has been running up quite a bit. BA, nice, interesting. Chegg continues to suck. Oh, you're telling me, my friend. Chegg is just it's coming into it's somewhat, I won't call it support yet because this is a pretty steep red candle here, my friend. Who was that? Was that Eden? That was a pretty significant pullback to around the 55 exponential moving average. Again, that's not the world's greatest support there for me. What we can do is, let's see if we can do some fibs from this retracement, from this swing high to low. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it looks like it's trying to hold the 1272 extension here. Let me actually, there's just too many lines here. So what I did here, I did a retracement here. That looking like that 1272 could hold, so around $73. If that $73 can't hold, we could be looking to around 68.58. But there isn't really much other that there's a little bottom here and some movement here, but there isn't anything significant here. So if that 73-ish to $72 doesn't hold, we could see some potential further downside to 68.58. So hopefully that helps out there a little bit. Fish, what's up, Fish? How you doing, my friends? Um, ST Child 3, we have not done DraftKings. Let's do DraftKings because that got a kind of a bid end of the week, right? But yeah, it looks like I gave it back. So with this one again, from previous swing high to previous swing low, we're looking on the daily chart. This is the kind of one that did a little of whoopsies for me. I thought I got out of it, but I didn't. Then I just kind of held it like an idiot. But that being said, we're seeing some potential overhead pressure and lack of movement to try to get above that notorious 618 percentile move, which is around the $38.20. So we're not seeing that movement or that momentum to kind of break above that ST Child 3. Seeing that if we can get above that and really start testing above 41, that's going to be the next potential higher price targets to again to get back up to that $44 level to get up there as well. To the downside, we're looking for some potential support basically around the 50-day. So we could see some support come in at the 21, which is pretty strong at the $36.17, but we could come down all the way to 34.13. So be mindful of that, my friend. Johnny Bravo, what's up, my friend? Thank you so much for coming out. Yep, let's do play. Let's do play. Like we did play had a nice little, we did a little thing on that. We talked about, I had some people call me the R word on my YouTube comments. That's okay. Everyone has their right and their way to express themselves. And it wasn't, they didn't call me a Rita. They called me something else that I was highlighting play, even though that I saw a pretty strong momentum breakout. And then after the video, it was up maybe 10%, but then it was up 16% the next day. So that guy can shove it with a sundown shot. That being said, where we're looking at now, this is, I need to kind of break this down in a little bit smaller time frame here. So for the previous swing high, the previous swing low here. So I'm going to get rid of this one real fast. So we're looking for some, so it's literally hit from this swing high from the, what is that, June 5th to the low here on July 14th. We just hit that 50% retracement at $17.14. Would like to see this higher, of course. We get start getting above 1883. That's the next price target, and then from that is around 2086, and then around that is basically that 22 to 23 range, which would basically kind of give it back into its previous high from that 100% move to potentially start seeing a really strong trend change in play. Carl Icahn. What is Carl Icahn doing now? Oh, Carl Hertz Icahn. Yes, he lost a lot of money in that trade without a doubt. Intel, we can look at Intel. Robert WSBI. I don't know what that is. Have I done that before? You said SWBI. Is that it's not? Oh, my keyboard. SWBI. Smith and Wesson. Oh, what is going on here? Is this because everyone just thinks there's like an, I don't know. This is strange. Is this like a, if the Democrats kind of win play where they just everyone runs out and gets ammo and guns. So this one looks like it's earnings coming out the 3rd, which is what, Thursday this week. Looks like a lot of damage was taken. Not sure what happened here or the reasoning why this happened, but that 5 and 8 crossing through the 21 that aggressively, and then even after that, we'll see that 5 and 8 just continue start pointing down to the ground. So that is just a pretty substantial move. We can, again, kind of do a quick fib retracement here. Let me tap here. Oh, click please. And that's the high. Yeah, it looks like that 1469 level could be coming into play here. We can see that potential downward movement. That $19 level is going to be coming into play as well. There has been a significant amount of damage done to the stock. It's not going to, anything could rebound, but this one is definitely has taken on some damage, and that trend has really been shooken up. So with earnings coming up, this could be a complete coin flip. This is going to be a very difficult one to look at. Looking for some potential support coming around that $15 to $14 range here around the 200 EMA. Let's see here. What else? I wanted to do Intel, right? Let's do Intel. Someone asked for Intel. So I was going to put out a INTC. I was going to do a video on Intel versus AMD, not the processors, just their overall companies. Like Intel's like, I think 2 or 3 times, maybe 2 times the size now of AMD. But even though with their bad news, and there's some reports of Intel coming out with their new, I think, were they calling it Evo? Something Evo, like their new processor or something like that. But it's kind of building up some momentum here. And everyone knows, I think Ryan knows as well, we are definitely long Lisa Su and definitely long the AMD. That being said, Intel could be setting up for a trade with this really nice base building here around the $49 to $50 range, and seeing this momentum starting to peak up. The volume oscillator getting out of negative territory, getting back into life, and same with the RSI starting to get above that 50-point range. This is also very key, significant signs. Getting above that 21, closing above that 21. If that 5 and 8 have any momentum and it can break through that 21, we could easily see potentially $52 to $55 in Intel in a very short period of time. Leo, yeah, let's do Beyond Meat. So Beyond Meat, full disclosure, is one of my longer term positions. And this is going to be, I'm going to be looking at this a little bit differently than I do on the daily side. We're going to be looking at more like the weekly side. So Leo, are you long? Oh, come on. I hate when the Thinkorswim has been not a fun one to work with here. We got to reload my charts here. 1 second. Sorry about that, fellas. So with this, okay, can't go lower. Okay. So this is on a weekly side. So we did daily. So daily, it's looking interesting. Had earnings, nothing too phenomenal. Moved up on that. Blah 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 blah. You're long as well. Okay, so it's having some consolidation around that 130. If it comes back to around, you see I have a target at 115. If it comes to that, I have to buy a couple more shares. I'm looking again to kind of hold this 130. It could trade down to 115 if it wants to. That's going to be perfectly fine. But the momentum is just kind of just trading sideways here. Potentially, if we can get any bid or some more volume into the stock, because you're seeing there hasn't been much volume in the stock at all previously from a couple quarters ago or even just a couple weeks ago. It just, there hasn't been much volume drying up. And again, volume drying up doesn't mean that things gotta come crashing down and fail and blah 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 blah. It just means that it could just consolidate here, and it's looking like it really wants to consolidate around that 130ish range to kind of see that potential movement higher if it wants to and has the ability to get above that 153 there. But again, looking for downward support basically around 122, and really strong support coming around 117 to 115 there, Leo. Morgan, we just did Intel. We can look at BA. Let's look at BA. BA is always an interesting one to play. And this one's kind of been like a quiet, little dormant little fellow here. Just kind of just little squirrel getting all his cashews and his nuts in his jaw, getting ready for a potential breakout or a breakdown. We're seeing that trend here, kind of just holding around this 170 to 173-ish range, and just kind of just trading sideways, just taking slightly just treading through water. Nothing crazy, nothing to write home about. Looking for, again, if it does start coming down, 162 is going to be to the downside. To the upside, we would like to see it above that 50% retracement, so we can do the previous high to the low here. And again, that 50% retracement comes in around 194. Let's just call that for being politically correct. So we can get up to that 194 range. That would be a pretty phenomenal move. There is quite a few indicators setting up here for a potential compression of volume. If you have the first day of the squeeze, again, that doesn't, 1 day squeeze doesn't really matter much of anything. But that being said, we could see a further move higher to get above that 194 again, to start trying to rebuild. Again, I'm going to have a much longer term mindset on this particular stock and looking for that potential like 215 to be really a target for this stock to really get back in the swing of things. Let me look at eBay. eBay is one that I kind of had a trade on this one. It didn't break above that $60 range. Had to get out of it here around the 57, and of course it just broke down substantially even more. This thing has just really just failed me. Looking for, since these are pretty large red candles and just on a 2-day pattern, that doesn't look the world's prettiest. But that movement can really see some further downside. We do have a dividends day. What is that? Tomorrow. Don't really take too much in consideration of the dividends day for that kind of trading stuff or really investing. But we are seeing that 5 and 8 potentially crossing through the 21. We could see some further potential downside. So since it's kind of basically failed that target up here, what we can do here is some retracements from the swing high, the swing low, to the swing high. There we go. Potential, if it can't hold around the 57, we could be looking for around the, that $57 down to $51 for some support there. So be very mindful of that on eBay. Makeshift says PFE. Yes, my friend. So Pfizer. I think you've been in this for quite some time, right, Makeshift? So with Pfizer, one of the larger pharmaceutical companies has been in a very strange, compelling squeeze here. This looks very interesting. Again, what a squeeze indicates, it just means a compression of the Bollinger Bands and the Keltner channels. We can kind of show you that, if I can find the chart right here. So this is basically what the squeeze indicates. It shows this is the Bollinger Bands, and these are the teal bluish lines are the Keltner channels, and it just means when the Bollinger Bands are contracting inside the Keltner channels, that squeeze gets the little red light there, meaning that there should be some compression coming in the stock. Means upward, downside, whatever. But with this one, it's looking for potentially just trading sideways again until we start getting, say, significant move. To the downside, we're looking for some support around 37.22, even down to the 200 EMA, so around 36.81. To the upside target, we're really looking for that 78 percentile move to come around the $39 to $40 range there, Makeshift. And then Wesley, what's up, Wesley? AVGO, yes. AVGO. Oh, wow, this thing really taking off. Yikes. This is really interesting. Let's see here. Where's the high here? Is this the high? Where's my, okay, there we go. So with this one, AVGO next price target, I won't have to say on the very least would be around the 378. What we can do is a shorter fib here as well. So we want to get like a fib cluster kind of going here to potentially looking. So 350 could be a next short term there. Who asked this? Was that Makeshift? No, Wesley. Wesley, so around 350 could be some overhead resistance. And then we're seeing a lot of consolidation around the 378 to 380-ish range up there. So basically what we can do multiple other Fibonacci retracements to kind of see that potential movement here of just some consolidation here. On this move from swing high to swing low, we could see some consolidation here where it just hit. But again, that 370 to 380 range looks like a potential target because this thing has just been kind of been off to the races. Keyword, we do have earnings on the horizon. That is a question mark without a doubt if you're going to be long it or would like to potentially be mindful of that, depending on how long term you're holding your stock or your options. On the weekly side, this looks really strong. It really does. Looking like it potentially wants to significantly go higher, but again, with that earnings, anything can happen, so be very mindful about that. MangoDB and DocuSign earnings thoughts. Yeah, we can look at Docu. That's the one. I'm just drawing a blank right now. Hold on. Is it DocSign? Is it SDoc? What is Docu? I'm drawing a blank. Docu. Is that it? There it is. Okay. Boom. Got it. All right. So with Docu, with earnings on the horizon, of course, this one has just been a story from all others, just really just ripping higher, really exploding, expanding its overall reach, and everyone getting overall the new way of trends and the overall look at how fantastic Docu is and just all the other fantastic stuff, basically just supporting the stay at home and the overall economy in that sense. So with this one, from the swing high to swing low, we're seeing that consolidation. It had a little bit of an issue to kind of break above that 213 range. It finally kind of broke above that, but now it needs to break above 220 to kind of get to that previous high to around 230. And like you said, they do have earnings on Thursday, so just be mindful that that can be a complete coin flip, especially on a very, I wouldn't call it a speculative, but it's a stock that's definitely been on quite a few people's radars in the sense of potential moves. Again, with these SaaS companies, it could be one, they can have fantastic numbers, but the analysts could say completely different things or whatever. It can really just go down significantly. Really looking for some support around the 21 EMA, so around 207 potentially. But we did see it come down to the 34. So with a stock that moves so greatly, that 21 and 34 could be a potential support level. To the upside, we're looking for potentially 240 in the price target within the Docu sign. Yeah, let's do Tesla. Of course, I'm surprised no one has asked for Tesla for a while. So Tesla, yep, Tesla. Oh, look, like they already did the split here. So again, that information has been updated. I wonder if it's updated in my account. Probably not. Oh, it is. Wow. Okay. Didn't notice that. A little behind on times there. So looking with Tesla, didn't close above that notorious 420. It's so substantially higher. And as we talked about, we need to kind of redo these lines here to kind of break out where we could be looking for. So the next target is basically $500. Do I think Tesla can hit $500? Yes. I think Tesla can hit $500. Can I hit $500 tomorrow? Maybe. I think it can. I really think it can. With that overall momentum, everyone just watched that Neuralink stuff. Everyone was super excited about it. I think that it has a momentum. If you're talking fundamentals, I think those fundamental people are just scratching their head and trying to figure out what in God's green earth people are buying the Tesla stock at these prices. But again, we are seeing some potential overbought signs. That's again on the RSI and as well as the volumes on oscillator to potentially see some slowdown or potential coming down. So for a pullback, a normal pullback we could come down to around 414 to basically 400. Again, I'm giving pretty large, wide ranges for Tesla just because it's Tesla and the movements are pretty dramatic, and it moves fast. So um, that potentially could come back to the again 400 to 410 ish range for level one support. Level two support, we could be coming up to around the 21 EMA, so around 367 to 360 ish range for that support again. And then after that, we're really looking for support around 326 to even lower. To the upside, again, we're really looking for that $500, or to be precise, we're looking for around 498 and 14 cents to the upside within Tesla. Again, this has just been a monstrous stock, and it really just wants to continue higher. David says, I'm not David says Tesla to 6K by 2022. That's going to be pretty phenomenal, without a doubt. I know that Kathy Wood and ARK Investment has given a pretty long-term buy rating, without a doubt. I think even on their perspective of, even if Tesla just misses and just does things terribly, we could just be looking around for a price target around 1,500. Yeah, Tesla Infinite Split Loop, yeah. Ryan, you want to do SNE? Yeah, let's do SNE. Have we done that before? Maybe not. My brain's a little fried today. Sony. So this is again Sony. Um, really looking for that movement to potentially to play out here. Again, with the overall PlayStation stuff coming out, we'll see how that comes through. Again, everyone probably knows I'm pretty bullish on AMD as well. With this one, we're seeing that consolidation around the 1272 extension, so around the $80 range. The volume zone also is kind of just failing off here, which could be a little bit. It's just like a one signal, but RSI is flat. Momentum's kind of shifting here. That's my only slightly concern here. We start seeing that 5 and 8 aggressively cross through the 21, and we start seeing the ticks close below that 78 to 70 or $78 range. We could see some potential downside to around the 75 down to 73 within Sony. But again, if we can hold this pattern, build some momentum, and start climbing above at least 82, we could see that $87 price target come into range there, Ryan. Big, what's up, my friend? Yes, big. We can do, is that Adobe? We can do Adobe, yes. Adobe. Oh, Adobe, the one we missed. Adobe had a nice little potential just bouncing around the pinball movement. Broke finally above that previous high at 470. Continue going higher, gapping up higher. Really looking to hold around above 500 here to the upside. Again, target is around 561. I know that seems pretty insane. That's it. But we do have earnings question mark coming out on the 15th of September. So that's a little bit further away. I think it's on Tuesday. With that movement, we could see some consolidation here. A pullback would be somewhat normal to around the 492 to 485 there. Big and Adobe. But this move looks pretty hot. The only fearful thing's kind of coming in here, it has the volumes FOMO middle finger that we call it here. So that's the middle finger here. You can kind of see it, the third knuckle, the middle finger, and then the fourth knuckle. It's literally kind of giving the FU kind of pattern. Potentially could be against some consolidating. It could just give us the finger of like, hey, can you miss this one? So FU kind of scenarios. So yeah, yeah. We'll look at CRM in a second. I think people will take top profits too, Alpaca. It's a good thought on Tesla, without a doubt. But I also think there's that mindset of people like, oh, Tesla's only $400 now, or it could be 500. So I think the psychology behind it, I think, could persuade people to buy more. Big is also, yes, we can do Spot. So Spotify is one we actually bought into as well. Again, if you're interested, we do like a little, if you become a YouTube membership member or on the Patreon page, we kind of have a tab or a level where I kind of share some potential trade ideas. So, and kind of give some potential entry points and some potential guidance from those stocks. That being said, again, with Spot, we kind of bought in here on this dip here. Had a pretty large movement higher. Um, Around this movement here. That squeeze did fire long, seeing that potential target kind of come in around that 287 here. Since earnings kind of behind us, I think there's still a substantial amount of things that could go positive for Spotify. Really looking for, let me actually redo these real fast. We're going to do the swing low to swing high here for this one. Go here. Yeah, so this kind of tells a little bit of a short-term picture. Since Spotify is a little bit of longer-term picture, we'll look on the weekly side as well. Looking for some consolidation around that 277 range, trying to break above that 78 percentile move above 287 to potentially look for that 315 price target. On the weekly side, really looking for that 315 price target to really come in and just really pound some profits in within a spot. Because again, it's a little bit of longer term hold, and I like the pattern that it's been setting up. Oh, Joe Rogan starts on the 1st. Oh, he starts on the 1st of September. Nice. I want to see how that's gonna be pretty interesting without a doubt. Are they still gonna? They're doing video, right? How are they gonna do the videos? Releasing a new feature. Or is it just gonna be audio big? I listen. I like to listen to some of his guests. There's some cool stuff. And let's. Did I miss someone? I think I just missed. I know I missed a lot. I'm sorry. The chat's moving so fast, everyone. I really do appreciate everyone just putting in their tickers. Um, let's see here. I think I said. Did I say something? Oh, they are doing video big. Okay, interesting. But yeah, Big C. But again, Big C is somewhat of a newer IPO. It's going to be a difficult one to kind of project out. Same with Rocket. It's both like there's some more newer IPOs, but I think it looks very interesting because I heard other rumors of they're going to be trying to getting some streamers onto Spotify. So we'll see how that plays out. Um, So this one for Big C, again, another newer IPO that's been ratcheting higher on large amount of volume and speculation. Again, from the swing high to swing low, hit that potential price target kind of around that 169 range, came up to 162, kind of gave back a little bit here. Again, the other indicators I can't really go on, so what we're going to do is going to look at this at a 4-hour chart to kind of give us a better definition of where some support and resistance could be within the Big C. And again, we're seeing that little bit of consolidation here around the 128 range with earnings on the horizon. We could see a pullback to around that 21-ish range or around 120 on the EMA. When is earnings is not showing on this one? So earnings is the 9th, so about a little over a week away. Again, some consolidation wouldn't be out of sight, out of mind. But if the market can get going and things can go really flying, we could see some potential movement again up to that 169 range. Again, you've seen all those other shops, the Shopify's, the Etsy's, and all those other things just going fairly higher and seeing some potential breakouts there. This one's going to be a difficult one to trade because, again, it's a newer IPO, not too much information out there. It's going to be its first earnings call, so it's going to be always a sketchy one without a doubt. Again, thank you everyone so much for coming out. I really do appreciate everyone coming out here and just checking the fantastic stream out. Really do appreciate it. Someone did say Etsy earlier, so I wanted to talk about that as well. So Etsy is one that we wanted to buy in. We did buy in actually a little bit on the dip here, but it's feeling a little bit of a pressure here, kind of potentially wanting to hold that 34 EMA, so around 119. It kind of held it very much to the T a little bit, But the squeeze is setting up here. It's only a 2-day squeeze as of right now. We could see some of this potential kind of coming down lower. Again, support could be coming around 115 to the downside. Um, but that being said, we don't want this 5 and 8 moving averages to kind of bounce off the 21 and go higher. We don't want to see this cut aggressively through it, because if it cuts aggressively through it, that 115 to 110 could really come into fruition. Um, RV, what is it? RVLV? What's that? Oh, is this the cosmetic company? Am I thinking that right? Looks like a fantastic quarter. Kind of came back down, settled things down, kind of holding that 21 EMA, potentially looking to hold that 21 EMA to further movement. Let's see here. Did it click where I wanted to? Swing high to swing low, potentially looking for some support around $19.15. If that can hold, build a base up here, kind of get that volume zone oscillator from the negative to the positive, we could see above that 2240 range target to potentially get that momentum substantially higher, because we've seen those the purple parabolic SAR dots kind of holding it down since after earnings. It just kind of popped up higher and looks like it just kind of sold off for some reason, whatever reason. I don't know the reason why, but it just did. But the 21 really kind of came in for some support, so that is pretty substantial there. Looking for that potential movement to about 22.40. To next target upside would be at 26.55. Downside support could be, again, if it doesn't hold that 19ish level, to around 17 to 16.86 range there. Plato, what's up? What's up? Blue, what's up? Thoughts on V? We can look at V. Ah, V. V. That's a nice movement there, without a doubt. Yikers. So again, what's in that? We have that little, we call this is the little penalty box, the imaginary box, the pinball box, where it kind of just bounces in around a trading range, then finally breaks out again, holding that 21 EMA, and just continue to grind higher. Hit its previous high and now is up at this basically all-time high here, looking for that potential next target around 235. It could have a pullback previously before it hits that. I don't know. Again, no crystal ball here. Looking for some, that momentum has been fairly strong here, because that RSI, look at that beautiful movement. Look at that squeeze fire. The only thing is that what I'm not seeing really come in here is a significant volume candle. Like, we need to see a volume candle that is at least up to, like, patterns up to here, up these levels, to really just cement this movement and really just give it that staying power. To the downside, we're looking for some support to the short side around 208 to even down to 203 range again, but really support's kind of coming around the 200 to 197 range to the downside. Snowflake, is that the Snowflake? What is that? Is that coming as an IPO now? I need that Snowflake company. It was really interesting. Is without a doubt, I want it. That's the company, because I understand it very well. Hmm. Snowflake is definitely one, that is one that's been on my mind to come out. Amazon, we can look at Amazon. Yeah, those IPOs look very interesting there. Amazon is definitely another one that's just been printing higher. So I just did a video on this one as well. We have that beautiful pink line here for the support. I can't understand snowflakes very well. Ryan, Ryan, always there to take my words out of context. Yeah, it's a cloud computing. Um, with that 21 EMA, aka the yellow line, being a very optimized zone to buy Amazon if it does do the pullback, but really seeing that momentum kind of carry it higher. Um, kind of hitting some of a wall up here, looking for again that 36.27-ish range. Um, but like this thing has just been a monster without a doubt. Just continue to grind higher, looking for around that again that 36.27 range for the next potential target. It doesn't look like it wants to slow down, honestly. Like this is a definitely a monster stock, and it is just wanting to take over the world. Like, and it's doing very well doing it. Yeah, I should do. That's a good point. Shag. What were those? Snowflakes. Yeah, I should do. I want to look at those things. That snowflake, without a doubt. Let's see here. Okay, chat, you guys are doing fantastic. Thank you so much for everyone for coming out. Fish wants to look at AMC. Let's look at AMC since we just did the play. AMC again. The overall movement here looks pretty strong here. If it can stay above that basically $6 range, again, that 200 EMA here, looking for some potential movement above 7, then 7 to 826. That being said, it's looking without a doubt pretty interesting, without a doubt, to see that movement, because we're seeing that huge volume kind of come in again. That is basically like, okay, things could be happening here. Looking here on the weekly side, we are seeing a squeeze someone set up here. So again, really looking for that target around $8.24 for that potential upside. But again, this is not going to be one of my favorite market sections to put money in it, because again, I love, as much as I love the movie theater and I love going to the Alamo. If I when next time I go, I'll let you know what movie I go see. But it's just kind of been just a beaten up horse, and I just really be hard for me to potentially to invest in it. I hope that understands the fish. Alan with the $2. They sell clothing online. Earnings the third. DL. Thank you for that good definition. DLTH. Oh, is this the Alan? This is the company that does the like the funny commercials of like giving your family jewels the room to breathe, and they do like the no rip bending over pants. Without a doubt, this is the company I'm thinking about. Yes, it is. This is. I didn't know they were publicly traded. That's awesome. So the swing high, swing low. We see you can see this. I think Alan, you know this by now. You see that potential marker here. So around that $9.35. We closed at 936. If you want to do really close analysis here, we could be potential hitting some upside movement here, showing that, hey, that is a significant range that has failed before. Even with a lot of movement into that movement, into that price target, it has just failed to see what that goes on. With earnings, you said it does come out here on the, what day was that? The 3rd? See, the 3rd? Yeah, the 3rd of September. With that, let's look at they don't have weekly options. That's gonna be a difficult one. With this one, looks like support down to the downside around $7.95 to $8. That being said, if this thing can really print higher, the next upside target be around $11.13 there, Alan, to the upside. If that can really get up and going, since volume has been, again, there's not much volume coming into this company. On the weekly side, this has kind of just really been beaten down as well. But we are trading above that 21. I'm going to put an alert out there real fast. We are trading above that 21 EMA about 2 months ago. Looks fairly strong. The last quarter has really killed it. That's fantastic. Yeah, I think that we could hit that $11.25 ish range if the quarter does really well and analysts don't say something stupid. Let Play-Doh. We have not done Fastly. Let's look at Fastly. And I spelled it wrong. With Fastly again, everyone's like, "Oh no, TikTok's going away." That's one of their biggest clients. Da da da. Da. I think it's a little bit overreaction again. Swing high to swing low, seeing that potential movement. It's kind of closing above that $95 range. We were looking for some targets about 100 to 108. Some higher movements here. That momentum's still intact. Some consolidation here. If we can get above that $100 range, we could really see some higher prices and really break out. But this is going to be a lot tied to the Microsoft deal with TikTok and other various components in that. If you don't want to read into it too much, that's going to be basically the next breakthrough within Fastly, unless they can acquire some other larger companies to kind of do some of that movement to go forth. But this one looks really interesting as well. It looks really healthy here. We could see some consolidation around 95, potentially to wait out to see what happens. Ryan, yes, we can do some Rocket. Have we done Rocket? Oh, I don't think we did. So this one had a pretty substantial move. So we're actually going to break this down to a 4-hour chart, since the daily chart is not going to give us too much information to kind of see how it plays out. So with Rocket, newer IPO company, first earnings coming out this week, had a nice, like I would call it a cup here, and a handle kind of coming through for a potential breakout. If it really breaks above $29, but again, earnings are on the horizon, so be mindful of that and be careful out there with this one. If it breaks above 29, we can easily see 32. If it hits 32, we can easily see potentially I don't know about 40, but we could see some higher prices to around the 33 to 35 range, without a doubt. Because again, this doesn't have weekly options as well, so it's going to be hard to kind of calculate the move, what the overall options or market makers are prospecting or thinking about. To the downside, we're looking for support around 26.85. But again, if we break it with any significant movement or volume coming in tomorrow or the next day above that 21, we could easily see 32 to even higher prices. What I can tell you what we could see after that. Let me do this one for you real fast, Ryan. We could see some prices of like 33.94 to 36. If we really can get above a really strong quarter there. Redfin. Yeah. Christopher, that's a great one. That's a great one. So Redfin was actually one we traded a little bit, and we just took some really just quick profits in it, more than I just kind of just I don't know why. I literally just set up the trade bracket, and I just let it sit, and then one day I got an alert said we sold it. And I said, okay, thank you, computer, and took my money. So this one looks really interesting with the overall housing market. We just talked about Rocket companies with the mortgages and everything. Looking at this one to really continue here, really holding that 5 and 8 moving averages, kind of hitting a little bit of consolidation above that $50 range. It's kind of a psychological number, a potential, I wouldn't say a wall, but of a potential that psychological number kind of to break out here. It's also the 1618 percentile move. If we can get above that 50-day or $50 range, we could see another line here. So we can get above that $49, $50 range. We could see 51 to even to really the next target be around 57 to the upside. I know that seems crazy, but that 57 to 58-ish range is something that we could easily reach if this thing can really get up and moving. Because you can see here, I wanted to buy this on the dip way back here around $13, but I missed it by a couple pennies. So was a kind of upsetting on that overall there. Let's see here. Vincent, can you do Yelp? Yeah, we do Yelp. Poor Yelp. Yeah, I was gonna say they haven't been performing too well there. Let me do Fibonacci here. I haven't looked at this one forever. I used to trade this one all the time on earnings because it just did phenomenal all the time. Swing high to swing low. That 50% retracement is kind of coming in. really that 200 EMA is really coming in to kind of give it that overhead resistance there, Vincent. And it's just not having a lot of fun or a exciting time or that movement to get above that 200 EMA. So if the 5 and 8 moving averages can cross through the 21, we could see again that 25 to $26 range. But it really needs to get that extra boost, extra shot of vitamin D, as they call it in the business, to get above that 28.65 range, basically to get above that 26.30ish or wherever the 200 EMA is, swinging through there. But you can see it's really strong support coming around the 22.63 or the 20. Basically, this $22 has been a pretty standard line in the sand for the old Yelp. GE, and let's do TDoc. Yeah, TDoc has been one that I wanted to actually get into, but it hasn't. On the weekly side is something I like to see. I want to see this consolidate a little bit more. It's actually kind of I actually like this actually. This is a great one I'm going to add here real fast. TDoc for me to look at tomorrow for some potential trade ideas. With this one to the daily side, I think it's they're acquiring someone or whatever. Overreaction, of course, basically anything in the market is an overreaction. Fails, comes back, kind of did like we call it a dead cat bounce, where it kind of hits that 50 percentile move and then kind of comes back down. But we're just kind of in that trading sideways range, but basically between that 217 to 208. So we can kind of just put the invisible box on it. So once we put this invisible box on it, we really wanted to see it break. We really want to see it above 225. Again, we're a little bit more optimistic on things. We're not negative bears or just completely just want to see everything fail. I think Teladoc does a great job. I've used their services before, and there's just a great, well-rounded company. That being said, that's what. Okay, thank you, Christopher. With this one, looking like it wants to consolidate here. The volume is slowing down again. We're not seeing these aggressive, large volume days again. With a lot of selling. Again, if we can hold basically this pattern, hold above the 205 range, build a strong base, get that momentum, get some more folks who want to buy this, and see that potential move above 225 to 237 there. Let's see here. GE. Let's do GE. So the amount of people who are talking about GE makes me not concerned, but like, what's going on here? Am I missing something in GE? They have just been. This is not the world's greatest looking stock here. Like this has just been beaten up. It's been hit over the head. It's been hit by a shovel, a couple rocks, and it's just been caught on fire. That is looks just not too fantastic here. But again, it's a $6 stock now. So what does that mean? I think it's just an overall potential. Not saying buying the bottom, but like how much lower can it go? It can go to zero, yes. But would I put my life savings in this? No. There's a higher other growth stocks that I would rather be looking at and putting my money into. But with this one, it could be worth a play to potentially see if this just kind of starts trading sideways. Maybe buy some, maybe a couple $100 if you just want to do a quick trade or some options on this to see if it could get any kind of recovery to above that $7 plus to $8 plus range. That could be a pretty large movement to the upside again. The company has been through a lot of business cycles. So I think that they could easily come out on top of this, but it's something that I don't want to be like pouring in money into this one without a doubt. Let's see here. Let's see here. Alpaca, hey, can you show me a good buy price for Workhorse? Let's see. Buy price, depending on what your time horizon is. This pattern again, where it's in that basically in that bouncing around range between the swing high, swing low, in this basically this purgatory box or penalty box, we call it, and just kind of bouncing around and just waiting for that potential breakout. If it breaks above basically $19 to $20, we could see again it's going to be the higher movement higher. To the downside, we're looking for some support around that 15. For me to get into the stock and for me to add or really to go long this stock in the long haul, things really need to turn around here. Potentially a buy entry to the short to the long side would be in the lower band here around the 34, so around like 1550 would be something. But again, you might have to have some patience on this. Again, it did close down nearly 2.5% on Friday, so that doesn't mean it's going to come crashing down, but it has been in a very tight squeeze here. And again, everyone and their mother are just waiting on that potential contract that they could or could not get from the United States Postal Service. So I don't think everything's waging on that, but I think if that doesn't get won or something doesn't go through, we could see some negative stuff and people just some weak hands just get out of it. Ryan, thank you for the weenie. I like my weenies with mustard. Um, yeah, alpaca. I'm optimistic in it, but again, you have to remember, you have to look at the risk too. What's the risk of going into this? Like, if it really starts breaking below that 1382 range, really could come down to that around that $7 ish range with that really fast because there's a lot of people in this stock are just I don't think have the strongest hands or the knowledge of the company. So there's basically like a very basic thing on how what people say. So one of my favorite traders and investors of all time is Peter Lynch, and Peter Lynch is like, if you can't explain the stock or the reason why you own the stock within like 3 sentences, and if you can't explain it to like a 10-year-old, then you're done for. GE is not really a penny stock. It could go to a penny stock though. HBI Haynes brand. Ooh, okay, that's interesting. I always look at the. I'm more of a Fruit of is Fruit of the Looms part of Haynes brand? I don't think so. Um, this looks interesting. It has a pretty strong recovery to the upside here. Looking again, it looks like it had a fairly strong quarter, kind of mixed here. It's looking like it just wants to hold this 21 EMA potentially. Um, this is a difficult. It's not this is not a Tesla or a Microsoft here. It looks like it just wants to trade sideways here for a little bit, potentially seeing some potential highs here to kind of get above that $18 range, but nothing really too much to report here. Um, Downward support basically could come around 15 to around 1475. So 15 to 1475 could be a potential move. Oh, this is a Kramer stock. Really? That's interesting. But yeah, this looks like it could be somewhat consolidating because it had a pretty large, substantial move in the last couple weeks there. Yeah, we do Microsoft. The old potential TikTok buyer. So this one's kind of just ran through our potential short-term price targets again because it has that momentum, the news story, the TikTok stuff behind it, and it's just really just been running up through this. Seeing that 1618 really come through here at $227, that's pretty significant movement here. The next target we could be looking for Microsoft is around $242.14. That being said, we could see some, again, I think a lot of people are just having the expectation of the TikTok deal going through. I think they have until September 15th, I think. September 15th, yeah. September 15th, I believe, to make that deal. But this thing looks like it's been really just running away from itself. So this is, I won't say scary, but it's been a very bullish pattern here. Potentially, again, next target to the upside is around $242 to the upside there. Oh, let's do Facebook. I forgot someone asked for Facebook. Again, thank you everyone for coming out. I really do appreciate it. This is absolutely phenomenal. I'm going to try to get to all the tickers. There's so many people that are just going through here. Without a doubt, I really do appreciate it. Go for without a doubt. If you're interested, we also have a Patreon or the YouTube membership page to kind of get some further knowledge drops. I should have had the Lamborghini in the back with the bookcases in the garage to show you that. Let's go. Okay, Facebook. So Facebook is starting a fight with Apple. Well, I guess maybe the both ways. They're somehow, or once you leave the Facebook site, some of the cookies that you could have been easily have been tracked on the iPhone via the web addresses and so forth has kind of gone away. And that could hit Facebook's AdSense a little bit, and they're just trying to call blah 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 blah. Anyways, with that could be a reaction. We're looking some consolidation here, even if it comes back down to 285. That trend's still somewhat intact. If that momentum can kick higher and that volume can come in, we could be potentially looking for around $318 to the upside. So that is around the 2618 percentile move. That is basically that movement or that potential price target if things can really get moving within the old Facebook. But again, anything in cap on the market, they don't have a crystal ball here. Looking for some resistance to the upside. That's going to be the next target. To the downside, we could see some consolidation here since we had this pretty substantial move higher here and a lot of volume kind of come into the stock. We kind of could see some trading sideways and seeing these moving averages kind of catch up because the 21 is quite far ways away from the ticks. So we could see this kind of trading sideways around the 300, the 295 range. Until these moving averages kind of start catching up and start giving it that next bid higher to above that 318 range there. Thank you everyone for the nice feedback. I really do appreciate it. Let's see here. A lot of people posting. Thank you everyone. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Alpaca's asking for THCK. What is that? I'm not sure what this is here. Oh, it's a cannabis ETF. Alpaca, you know I can't be touching these with a 10-foot pole. But with this one, it's kind of just consolidating, potential building a base here. If it wants to consolidate here to the upside, we're really looking for some overhead pressure coming around the 1164 range. To the downside, we're looking for some support around the 841 range to the downside there. JD is hot. JD is at the Japanese company. Yeah, JD looks really hot. That is a sweaty, that's a spicy meatball. That looks pretty interesting without a doubt. Looking for that potential, again, it's kind of, I wouldn't say consolidating here, but looking for that movement to kind of come up to 800, 86.57 here to that next or to that target. But again, same what we just talked about. It's kind of far away from all these moving averages. Potentially could see some consolidation come back to around the $75 range there. Let's see here. Kelly D, we have not done space. That's a good one there, Kelly D. Space. I got long-term calls on this one, so this one is bench. Definitely one that is I'm holding longer term. I like this pattern. It's been consolidating around the 200 EMA for the last couple days. We've seen this pattern before. The momentum's kind of start building back up. The volume's kind of drying up. The only thing that we're kind of seeing here is that the volume zone oscillator is kind of really much of a beaten down territory in RSI as well. We need to kind of start seeing these to kind of come back to life and see a potential kick higher above that 21 EMA and start getting above these potential targets around 21.83 to 25. Because again, we had that huge run up into earnings. Again, ran up to earnings way too fast, and of course that hit that 25.78. Never really got above it, never closed above it, and then came falling right back down. Aggressive moves with the 5 and 8 crossing through the 21. Now kind of slowing down, hitting the air brakes around the 200 EMA, basically around the $16 to $17 range. It has taken on a lot of water. It needs to kind of get shipworthy again and fix itself up. Some potential moves to consolidate here and start seeing that volume RSI indicator start getting higher there. Alan, thanks for another $5. CCH, a family potato chip company, big in the Northeast, using, is that Utz? Yes. Holy crap! I love those guys. I didn't even, man, I didn't even know they were trading. Man, CCH, they're changing their ticker symbol. Holy moly! Yeah, this is. I just have to buy this because I love their potato chips and their pretzels, man. Oh yeah, this could see some movement without a doubt. Potato chip company, yeah. Um, this is gonna be a difficult one to kind of break down here, Alan, just because it's had a substantial move already. I do like this one, so CCH, but you said it's called Utz. It's gonna be Utz. Man, Alan with the cool stay. It's not even. They can't even add it yet. Um, this one looks fantastic. I love this movement. I'm gonna have to buy some just because of Utz. Instead of buying my all my stuff from Costco, we'll see on how that plays out with the old Utz company. That's a very difficult one. It's going to definitely a very quick trade because again, they could run up quite substantially and then give back some. We'll see how that plays out on Monday. That'd be definitely a very interesting one to watch without a doubt. Their pretzel game is very strong. But, but the thing is, like, so I don't know if you know this, Alan. I'm a huge Costco shopper, so Utz is everywhere in Costco. Again, I live in Virginia, so Utz is pretty familiar without a doubt. It's great chips though. The Utz, what do they call it? The Utz Grandma Brown Bag Special. Thank you. Goodbye. That's a beautiful day to have a bag of those. Making me hungry, Alan. Son of a gun. Okay, let's go. Let's look at some stocks before I start salivating over potato chips. SQ, another great stock there. SQ, whew, being on fire as well with that momentum really kicking higher, seeing that movement kind of come through. Potential price target is basically 170 for SQ. Seeing that movement, it's been super strong. It's been having that overall momentum of the payment, fintech company. Everyone is doing the no more cash and just basically adopting the payless or scanning or chip within the credit card and just really been taking off. We just saw that with Visa as well. And of course, Square is really consolidating that down as well and helping little smaller guys, without a doubt, move that through. Downside support's really going to be coming around 147. It could actually be a nice buying opportunity. So around 147 to around 140 if it does get a dip in the overall market. But that overall trend is looking still to try to hit around that 170 range. What up, David J? Can we look at FedEx? Yeah, look this. Oh, that is. Oh my gosh. You know what? I have a note that was expired. Okay. We're still good. That was one. Thank you, David. That was a great example there. So this is one that I actually wanted to play into earnings, but I definitely missed it. Son of a gun. It's still the 15th. So FedEx is one that I wanted to buy actually around the 203 range, and potentially hold to around the 234 range. This thing has just been moving very aggressively into that range here. really looking for that 234 range to really be hit. I think you could hit that range actually before earnings. So earnings is out on the 15th. We do have a dividend day as well to be mindful of that on the 3rd. But this looks really strong to around that 234 range. Support really coming around that 203 range. But again, as I'm sure you already know, David, you did your due diligence in the sense of like, hey, the, everyone is shipping everything to their house. Amazon is making money. Everyone's just being ordering their Etsy mask. Everyone's doing all the other various things online, online, online. So that is definitely the new movement without a doubt with them, UPS without a doubt. Who had pizza lately? I had pizza lately. We did Big C. We haven't done CRM. Let's do CRM real fast. Of course, CRM just literally just lit a candlestick and just went flying through the roof. Huge movement, really printing higher, hitting that 278 range here. Potentially kind of just, I wouldn't say failing here, but could be consolidating, kind of coming back to around the 245 range and kind of waiting for the 21 EMA to kind of catch up. I think once the 21 EMA gets above like the 245, I could see that price kind of come in around that range and potentially again with that large movement see around that 325 with the overall movement higher. All right, that looks interesting. Let's see here. We did docu already, John. So docu is just looks really interesting. So we just have earnings coming out there. We haven't had Pizza Hut forever. Dow Jones, BKNG, yeah, I'll say that's a good one actually. It's a definitely one. That's booking, right? That's a really interesting one. So with this, did I have this? Okay, yeah, finally broke above that 1880-ish range, which was that 78.6 percentile move from the swing high to swing low. So it's kind of just breaking out of that pattern. So that's a good move on the behalf if you're a bull on this stock. If you're long it, if it can stay above that 1880-ish range to see that potential move to around 2090 there, where it's basically its previous high kind of lies. That looks pretty ridiculous if it can hit that range. Looking for that RSI to potentially start getting overbought. Volumes on also is also very strong. This stock was up nearly 3% on Friday, so this looks like a very strong movement without a doubt to see on how this plays out. But yeah, downside support really kind of coming in around 1825 down to 1714. I know again this is a pretty pricey stock, so yeah. Rock, we just did FedEx. FedEx, we're looking for a run into earnings to potentially around 234, $235. Sorry, chat's moving really fast again. Thank you guys so much. If you're interested, we have a basically Patreon page, some other things to check out there, some tiers. We also have a YouTube membership tab if you just want to support the channel. Different little perks on that as well. So definitely check out that little join button down below. I really do appreciate it. And also, we have that Discord link in the description below if you want to join the Discord and have a grand old time with all of us at the Discord and talk stocks, charts, all kinds of different various things. A lot of fun stuff. And I really do appreciate everyone coming out and sharing everything. We did AMD Piton. Oh, I always make a fun of Piton because I always see the black the black Mercedes Benz van that delivers them to other people's houses on my street. So I'm just like, I think I've counted like at least 3 or 4 of them coming through the down the street of people getting new bikes. So basically, with this, it could be an earnings run in play. The only concern is that we were up, was that 8% just on Friday. that movement to around $76, basically kind of where it closed at. Seeing that potential movement to get above 80, I think we could hit $80 before earnings. Basically, kind of doing like a some people can call it a run up into earnings, a trade into earnings. Basically, you can trade calls or sell or get into something, but make sure you have to get out before the earnings call comes out. Because again, with earnings, it's a coin flip. Anything can happen. It could be either left, right, up, down kind of scenario. But this looks like a very strong movement. Look at these phenomenal amount of volume coming into the stock here. And again, that $80 range could look intact. Again, from 80, we're looking for around $90 for the next target from that forth. Yes, we can look at Apple as well. That's glad someone pointed that one out finally. So Apple, it looks like they already have adjusted for the price target. So we're looking around $125 where it closed on Friday. Potentially looking for some downside support coming around 116. Again, I don't see that happening. Again, it has to be a pretty substantial amount of selling and just getting out of there. With that being said, we could see some potential. Let's see here. Let me check something here. Some potential further movement higher. I'm trying to see if I can. It's not going to be the longer term chart. Let's look at here from the fib here on the weekly side. Of course, that didn't click where I wanted it to. There we go. We're hitting that upper band that we talked about, that 128 range, basically, where it was basically the 50 something range. That upper band here, that it's a pretty substantial amount of movement here. We've had look at these the readings here on the RSI. It's literally just saying it's overbought, overbought, overbought. But again, that doesn't mean that it's going to come crashing down. That just means it could just kind of be trading sideways here. This is a pretty significant movement in a large stock just like this. That movement all the way up to 175 is going to be the next overall price target on the weekly side. But on the daily side, we can kind of look at some other potential things. If it can really get above and close above that 128.58, we could see some potential movement higher. To the downside, really looking for support around 116 to around 110. That could be a potential buying opportunity. If we come smashing through that, we could be looking for some support around $100 within Apple. Anything can happen in the market. Just be ready for things. Andy says Ulta. Yeah, let's look at Ulta. Did they already have earnings, or they're coming out with earnings? Oh, they already had earnings. Okay. So with earnings already coming out, this looks actually kind of, it still was up 5 or almost 6%. Potentially didn't break above that previous, basically the 258.74, which is something we kind of set in place. That's the Fibonacci retracement from the swing high to swing low from, I think, on the weekly side. Yeah, let's actually do this here because this has been a stock we've traded in the past quite a few times. Again, that 50% retracing coming in, kind of not being really to break above that 247 range, potentially support kind of coming around 230 to the downside. We hold at least 230 to get that momentum going higher. With the quarter being well, it looks like I've walked by a couple Ulta stores and they do the curbside stuff, and people seems like they enjoy that. That being said, it really needs to start staying above that 200 EMA without a doubt. Yeah, we have done Tesla, but let's do a quick another Tesla review since a lot of other folks have joined, and I think yeah, it's almost 11 o'clock here, so it's getting more of the West Coast folks are joining in here. So with Tesla, as we talked about, it had a monstrous run. It's literally had a Falcon 9 rocket just strapped onto itself and just flying higher to all-time highs. Didn't close above that 420 notorious range, actually closed higher. So we're going to be opening up around $442-ish come tomorrow. Again, we were down, not significantly, we were down 5% on Friday. We could see some potential, again, with these splits, especially with a high amount of leverage of folks who love Apple and Tesla, anything could really happen. So being mindful of the sense of like, hey, we could get just a huge run higher. So the next overhead target, if I want to be looking for, is around $500 for Tesla. To the downside, we're looking for some potential short-term support around $412 to 400, basically $400, and the next level support around 368 to basically the 350-ish range. I'm doing very wide support levels because again, if Tesla wants to move, it can really just burst through the atmosphere and just explode in different various ranges. So again, it's very much a fast moving stock if things can get moving. So be super mindful of that. I think I'm still super long term Tesla. A great buying opportunity for me would be around 300. If it gets down to around 300, that would be a nice buying opportunity. Again, that 300 range would be around that $1,500 price target where it was at. It could settle by the 420 range by the end of the day. That'd be that'd be pretty funny. Uh, I've seen. That's great, 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 great. Do, 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 do. Let's see here. Do, 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 do. Let's see. Let's everyone. Thank you so much and the fantastic stuff. Snap, snap, snap. Yes, Lord. Look at snap. Just drinking some water here. Snap took some damage from his last earnings and then kind of just fell out of grace here with an aggressive move between the 5 and 8, kind of crosses to 21. Now, kind of with the 55 EMA, that's the white line that we're highlighting here, kind of just trading sideways here. Now, seeing a potential move higher. I actually really like this pattern here with Snap. I'm actually going to put this on my short list here to look at it tomorrow to potentially see this movement here. We're seeing that 5 and 8. If that 5 and 8 can cross through and we can break above that $22.45, we could easily see. Let's do this here real fast. Let me get rid of these previous fib numbers, and we're going to go with a short-term fib here. Yeah, so if we can get basically above that, basically the 22.36, 22.50, we can easily see 23 to even 23.75, potentially looking for targets around 24.45 there. With that being said, that could be a potential larger move high without a doubt. Yes, David, we can look at Lulu. So Lulu and Nike are one of my Nike's actually one of my longer term positions. With Lulu, it's just again we had that box on it. It broke above that box, and it's just literally just been playing higher and higher, 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 holding that 5 and 8 moving averages, kind of slowing down here the last 2 or 3 days. Potentially looking for some trading sideways action, but this is just a phenomenal looking chart here. It's going to be very difficult to get into this as of right now. Potentially looking for targets. That's not going to help there. Let me do this here. Yeah, looking for short-term targets around 393. So basically, a little bit higher than we're currently at. Looking for that movement to sort of potential short-term targets. Support really kind of short-term support coming around 371, and then next support coming around 355 there. Let's see. Thank you everyone for joining again. I really do appreciate it. This is fantastic. Um, let's see here. Talk about Red Dead Redemption. I haven't played Red Dead Redemption. I should get it. Is it on Steam? I've played of course, the new Grand Theft Auto, but I haven't played Red Dead Redemption, which is strange. Because I always love spaghetti westerns. Just joking, not spaghetti western. SHLL. So this is when one of those acquisition companies is really just flying higher. It's definitely making its rounds around YouTube, and a lot of folks have been talking about it. We'll see that movement here with that swing high to swing low here, really kind of consolidating around that $39 range. If it can't break above that $39.40ish range, we could see some potential targets coming back down to 31. And I really can't give too much other information on this because again, this stock has just moved. The volume and just the sporadicness of this has just been quite crazy in that sense. Jeremy, ATVI, yes, we can do Activision. Activision's kind of been on my interesting list on the sense of it's just kind of just a nice steady eddy. It's not a crazy movement stock. So with between this and EA is one that I kind of had on my short list to not my short list to short, but my short list to kind of to look at again. So this looks very interesting here. The last 3 days has been in a squeeze here, kind of potentially building up for some support around $82.50. If we can hold above that pattern, we can see that base building here and potentially start seeing some prices above 85 all the way up to previous highs to around 87 to $88. Yeah, SHLL. So I'm not going to be, I don't know too much of the fundamental side of things, but it's definitely a very high speculative stock without a doubt. So again, with Activision Blizzard, so anything around the 21 to 34 could be a buying opportunity. I don't know if you're going to be able to get this before this really gets to kick higher. But if the 5 and 8 aggressively cross through the 21, we could see some further downside again to around the $80 minus range. Let's see here. Thank you everyone so much for coming out. I really do appreciate it. We did Spot. Spot was looking one very interesting here as well. Kind of doing like a cup here. Maybe it could get a handle here. Kind of trading sideways around 280. Potentially looking for it to break 287, and then we'll see around the $300 target within Spot. Jay, we also did BA as well, so I'll just do a quick one for that one as well. BA is kind of just trading in a range above, looking for a breakout. If it gets above the 193.70ish range, that could be a substantial move to around that 217. Downside support is really going to be coming around the initially around 170 and then 162 to the downside. Hey, check. You can do. You're a good guy. You sound like you know what you're talking about. You just don't come in just to dump your video. No, without a doubt, you can share your stuff. No problem, my friend. Um, Kim family vacation. Baba. Let's look at Baba. Ali blah blah. Ali blah blah. Of course, fantastic quarter. Really ratcheted higher. Hit those potential short-term price targets around the 284-ish range. Potentially could be seeing some trading sideways here around the 284 range to kind of wait for the longer term moving averages to kind of potentially catch up, to start seeing that and testing that next target above around 312. So that target up here is at 312. Downside support's really coming in the short term to around 275. And then level 2 support is going to be coming around 268 there, Kim. I consider myself a decent guy. Sometimes. You're not like some of the people that come in here and that call my inappropriate languages. I have to ban them instantly. Let's see here. CVS, that's a great looking. That's one that kind of came on my radar as well. So this has kind of been in that consolidation range as well. Looking for some potential consolidation here. So we're seeing things are spinning here. Okay, so you can see this has taken on a lot of damage. A lot of damage has been done. It hasn't been performing very well. Has not been able to get above that $64-ish range, where it is that 200 EMA is basically kind of settling at on the daily side. We are in a very long-term squeeze here. That means that, again, that doesn't mean that's going to go up or down. It just means a tight consolidation, and it's basically a lot of rubber bands going around a watermelon. And if that watermelon bursts, it could burst up, it could burst down. With this one, it could look like it'd be bursting down, and I can kind of give some rough estimates where we could be landing on that. So upswing high to swing low. Potentially, oh, did it click up there? Yeah, I need to get myself a. There we go. So if this fails here again at the 200 EMA, we could be coming down. If the squeeze really fires, we could be looking for around $61. We need to get above that $64 range to potentially test that $67 range for a CVS there. We can look at it. AMD. Yes, AMD is one. So we're looking at AMD and then TSM as basically two of the positions that we currently have in this market. With this being said, we're seeing the AMD basically kind of just hold this particular pattern. It's not really just kind of running away. It's not something that is just flying away, but we're looking for that target around $95. So around $95 is going to be the next overhead target. To the downside, we're looking for some support around the $80 range. But with anything could happen, we could see some further downside. That next to support is going to be coming around $73. I normally don't like to draw make-believe lines, but I remind me, guys, I need to post. To prove my story, I have a screenshot of me buying AMD at $4.37 or something like that. I have it somewhere. Um, um, that's definitely I need to show that because people didn't believe me. Jay, what are your thoughts on SPY hitting the decade-long resistance up at 3.7? Let me look at the chart. Let me tell you what's the three. Oh, whoopsies. You're talking about like the. I think I know what your chart you're talking about. I saw that circle the old webby web from basically, was it this move up here from this to high like this? Is it this trend line that you're talking about? This is one that I've seen before where it was basically, whoop, I did that wrong. Come on out. We're getting this, maybe it wasn't this one. I think I know what you're talking about. My next target for SPY is basically around 371-ish. The 357, again, anything can happen in the market. I'm not going to be really looking at that as a potential single signal, since the RSI is not too crazy on the weekly side. On the daily side, we are hitting the overbought, but normally with the indexes, I don't really rely on the RSI too much on the daily side. I'm looking more on the weekly side. But we are seeing a lot of money come into the market. So this is on the weekly side, the last basically month, we've seen a lot of, I don't want to say new money, but money from the sideline come in here. That's basically what kind of highlights this shake in money flow, with a lot of institutional and bigger investors coming in here and just buying up and just getting into the market again. So that's why we're seeing this pretty larger print higher. People are saying it's the top before the crash. I don't know how you can tell that until it starts crashing. I can't tell you we're in a crash until the plane starts pointing down. I can't tell you. I think if we hit 36,000 feet in this airplane, we're going to start crashing. No, you need to have other signals before that movement kind of comes in. Thoughts? Yeah, big. What's up, big? TTWO. Yeah, we'll look at TTWO. Is that Take Two? Yeah. So Take Two, this is one. They're known for the more of the um TikTok news dropped. Oh, it did Fish? What happened? What are they saying? So Take Two kind of had a nice, huge quarter up, and now it's kind of consolidating here. I actually really like this pattern, big. You are nailing it out of the park early here. This looks pretty interesting. I kind of like this. Potentially, it's kind of building up here. Um, if it holds above the 21 EMA basically here, above 170, we could see some potential further higher prices here. We do have a 2-day squeeze setting up here. That could be anything can mean, and with anything could be tied to that. But that being said, if we can stay above that 21 EMA here and just potentially build this base up here, we could see some higher prices in the short term. Let's look at those targets with the fib here. Short-term targets could be, again, staying that price around 171 and start breaking above that 180 to 184 to the upside for the old TTWO. That's a good looking chart though. Thoughts on tomorrow for Apple? Just be ready for anything because I think there's going to be a lot of movement. Do I think it's going to be they have to limit it? I don't know. Um, with these splits, especially, anything can happen and just be ready for anything. I think you're going to see a lot of psychology be coming into play. You're going to get a lot of extremes up or down. So, could be some nice buying opportunities if it does come down substantially. Fish saying ByteDance has said that they will follow the new rule strictly 30 minutes ago. Oh, okay. So they're gonna sell to Microsoft? It's definitely FOMO's kicking into a lot of these stocks again. Um, I'm not crazy going in and putting in my whole life savings in new positions because it's very difficult. So like, I would love to add to Nvidia. I can't add to Nvidia. It hit an all-time high just the other day, so it's going to be very difficult for me to get into this. I have to wait for a potential pullback, some lower prices here, kind of coming in here because Nvidia looks like it wants to hit basically 563. Um, I need to buy it here closer to around 470, 480, around the 21 EMA, even lower. If I want to really long term hold it, I need to buy it way below like the 450-ish range. So it's very difficult to really add in positions when everything's on all time high. So that's basically what kind of just slows down the movement. So I think we could see some potential sideways action. I think once kind of the schools start opening up here in the United States and people start figuring out what the next norm is, I think we could see some of that kind of come into play. But a lot of people are not really talking about. We did talk about Etsy, my friend, but we can cover it real fast because I don't remember what I said. Yeah, okay. Etsy looking for some support around 119, 120. If it can hold that, build a base here, start seeing some prices above 127 for the Etsy. Matthew, we did AVGO. AVGO is just holding between that 5 and 8 moving averages and looking to continue making all-time highs. Work is one that we looked at for a trade. So work, we kind of highlighted this for, again, if you haven't looked at it yet, you're not obligated to do anything. Just want to do, if you want to do a little bit more education and get more of the charts and my knowledge that I like to share with folks, we have the Discord chat that's in the description below. We also have a YouTube membership member. You can just join just to get the free cool emotes, and then you can also get the Patreon page and other various tiers to look at a potential whatever you want to support the channel with, or if you want further stuff to, but potentially might be doing member-only webinars via like a Zoom meeting. So kind of to break down some more interesting stuff if people want to get that extra level of understanding of charting and things like that. And again, I'm not selling a course. I don't want to do anything like that. I just want to help people. Again, I think anyone who knows, who's been in the Discord, I try to give my best effort to help folks understand the market and better understand technical analysis and options. Let's look at this. Okay, with work kind of had this, basically was trading in sideways, came down to the 200 EMA, kind of failed here, then kind of made somewhat of a move higher. We could get a maybe small short-term earnings run to kind of get above that 31 to, I don't think it's going to hit 36, but its last earnings call had a huge run up into earnings and then kind of just failed. So I think kind of people are thinking of that same premise potentially maybe coming into fruition. But again, if the market really jumps into tomorrow, um, we could see some potential like crazy action without a doubt. We looked at Rocket. We looked at Rocket Company Mortgage, or I think it's called Rocket Company something, or whatever. You know what I'm talking about. They were looking for, if it can really break above that $29, $32 price range, it could really easily come into fruition. Oh, let me take some water here. Job reports a risk. That's always somewhat of a risk, but I think that talking about the non-farm payroll, even that, like it is in the overall mindset. So I wouldn't want to. I need to know what day that stuff comes out. So I want to potentially could get in a stock at a cheaper price just on that day. But over in the long term, over if you're trading for the longer side, it doesn't really matter. Well, Jay, let's look at Walmart. Yeah, Walmart has been a monster without a doubt. Um, Again, we talked about this on our Patreon page and on the YouTube membership tab. Looking here from after the earnings, they kind of came out for some support around the 130 range. We bought into this around the 130 range and then had that huge pop higher, breaking through that 137 range to hit the new all-time high at 141. Potentially the next target be around 143. To the downside, we're looking for support around 137. Again, with these large moves higher, we could even see it come back down to around the 135-ish range without a doubt. Big, yeah, we can look at Chegg. We did look at it, but it was towards the beginning of the stream. So this one has kind of just been, it's kind of similar to, I wouldn't say like Etsy, but with the 5 and 8 kind of crossing through it, it's really holding between the 50 and 55 moving averages here. This is a difficult one to kind of potentially see. If we can really start seeing a holding around the 35 or the 33-ish range, or sorry, the 73-ish range, we could see some consolidation here. But the momentum, the volume oscillator, and RSI are not looking too great here. That is, it needs to start turning around here. You'll definitely, I wouldn't want to be buying into this now because it looks like it's going to take a little bit longer time to kind of come back. Would be buying this pretty early on to potentially see on how this plays out. Again, with these movements here, Chegg has taken some damage on, and it potentially could take a little bit longer to kind of see on how it plays out. Yeah, airlines. We can take a look at the airlines as well. So I look at like I just basically look at jets. So jets, I basically bought calls on this on the way down here, looking for that potential movement here. Starting to look for a potential. Wouldn't call it a breakout, but we did have some significant positive uptick days within jets. So again, jets is basically an ETF that covers all the airlines basically, just a little bit of a cheaper price. So with these airline stocks, again, they're all, in the lack of better words, in the same plane or the same boat. You get it? looking for that movement. Really, it's again, they've been beaten up, they've been slapped around, they have been talked bad to, they have been um, kicked while they've been down. It has not been a world's greatest experience owning airline stocks. You had the Oracle himself saying, "I'm out of them and sell billions of dollars for a loss." Um, that being said, we're looking for some potential movement here within the Jets ETF. So looking here for again that 50% retracement. So if it gets above like that 1870ish range, we could start seeing some higher prices above 19 or $20. Um, it's definitely one to kind of see an interesting play. Would I be running out and buying this all up tomorrow, the next day? No. I think there could be some more sideways action without a doubt within this ETF, and potentially could be buying it at a lower price around 17 to around the $16 range. But again, you have to be very active and start putting alerts out to let yourself know when that could be the opportunity to buy that. Alexander, thoughts on ACMR? What is that? I'm not sure what this company does, but it looks like. Whew. Very interesting. This kind of really just printing higher here, really coming through here around the 21 EMA, kind of failing here at the 21 EMA with the 5 and 8 crossing over here. Um, that could be a scary moment because it has not crossed through the 5 and 8. The 5 and 8 haven't crossed through the 21 in quite some time to the downside. So we could see some downside pressure coming in to kind of potentially support around the 85 to $86 range. If those 5 and 8 can't start curling and start leveling off and potentially go higher. The 34 EMA could be support here at 93, but we could see some support kind of coming around 87 to $86 to the downside. Yeah, I would not want to own an airline company, without a doubt. CCL, we have not done Carnival Cruise Line. So CCL, all the cruise lines have kind of just been trading in the very same pattern as well. Again, really seeing that momentum, just potentially start seeing it go higher. Once we start getting a potential vaccine and things start coming back to, I'm doing air quotes right now, normal, we'll see that that life could be coming back into these stocks. But again, not really my cup of tea, lack of better words. No offense to you. I'm more into the growth stocks or potentially uh, higher movement of stocks. Again, I'm not really into. I don't like boats. I don't like to be on a boat, so it would be really hard to buy this one, just on the fact of that. But this one has just been beaten up. Potentially looking to see some movement higher above that $18 to $20 range to kind of get some life back into that. What about Upwork? Yeah, that's an interesting one. I haven't looked at that one for a little bit. So we did. I think someone did talk about this on this a couple weeks ago. It had a huge move higher, consolidated, move higher, then came back down. So it's really just been holding that 21 EMA and trying to break above that $15 range, and has been hitting that support level around $17 and not being able to really get above that $17 range. We could again be consolidating here to potentially see that next spring higher, get that boost higher to look to hit that basically the 1741 range, to see that potential large movement go higher. I really like that. That could be a nice little breakout. I am somewhat familiar with Upwork, but it looks like on the weekly side, it's not a newer stock, is it? Okay, it's had multiple other quarters come out. It's kind of coming in back into the graces, lack of better words. Seeing again that holding pattern on $15 to potentially see to hit around that 1740-ish range. SQ, I think we did that one already. I think I had around the 80 or the 170 range for SQ to hit to the upside. Yeah, this thing has just been gangbusters, been very well liked, and just continuing to hold higher here. Downside support's really going to come in around 147. SRNE, yes, we can look at SRNE. One of the companies I do not like in the sense of overall the fantastic pharmaceutical companies. With this being said, looking for some support coming around that $7 to $7.11 range. We made that joke with that before. Potentially start holding here. We are seeing the 5 and 8 moving averages just starting to curl. Woodford, yes, we'll do Tesla in a second. With the 5 and 8 kind of starting to potentially slow down, the momentum is still slower to the downside. It needs to start leveling off here with the 5 and 8 moving averages here and not really cut any lower here with that movement. So if the 5 and 8 can start curling here, start getting more parallel to the basically the 200-day and all the other lines that are going from left to right, to start seeing that hold here around potentially consolidation around the $8.67. Again, this is a pharmaceutical company. Anything can happen. This thing can go back up to $20 and can go back down to zero. So it's all tied to the overall vaccine and all the fun stuff of that. I'll do Tesla. I'll do Tesla again because again, it's one of the biggest stocks at between Tesla and Apple. It's just been completely requested the most again because they have the largest amounts of splits going forth. With this one, again, Tesla, we're looking for a potential overhead target around 500. Short-term support is going to be coming at 412, and much longer secondary support is going to be coming around the 382 down to around 360. The reason I'm giving these wide ranges is because it's Tesla. Tesla can move substantially fast. Yeah. AXSM. That sounds like a penny stocks. No, it doesn't. Okay. It had a 6,000. Whoa. 8,000% last year. Yikers. So don't know what this does. It looks like it's like a therapeutical pharmaceutical company. So again, that right there just scares itself. Um, with that moving, let's look here on the fib side. It's having a lot of issues breaking above $91 here. Consolidating around $80. If this squeeze can consolidate and potentially break higher, we could see some prices back up to $91. And looks like some downward support around $71.30 to the downside. Basically, kind of coming around where the 200 EMA is. I want to thank everyone again. Thank you so much for everyone for coming out. I really do appreciate it. We'll do a couple more stocks. We'll keep going. I really enjoy it. I got some energy tonight. Really do appreciate everyone coming out. Big SEDG. Solar Ed. Okay. So this is one. They already had earnings. Okay. Already had earnings. Wow. Yeah. Man, big with the stock picks, man. These are great stocks. Really holding that 21 EMA. There isn't anything really too negative about this. This looks like it just wants to hold that 21 EMA and start grinding its way up to around that 265. Downward supports basically kind of coming in around that 21 to 34 because has had a nice movement, just continue going higher there. Christopher, yes, we did do Tractor Supplies. This is one that has been fantastic. just the last couple of days it didn't do very well. Because again, I think because a lot of people are like, oh, the pandemic's over, people are not going to be home doing farming, being their own gardener, and improving their house. Um, but this could be a nice buying opportunity if it can stay above 145. But this has had a monstrous run, so it doesn't surprise me that people are taking some profits here. 'Cause again, we look at this and then like the HD, we're not seeing it there. We're not seeing. I think we didn't see it at Lowe's. There, Lowe's is still printing higher, so it's something with the Tractor Supply. Just some people potentially taking profits. Again, I don't follow the news, so I don't know what they did if they said something wrong. Jay, let's look at Roku. Yep, Roku is trying to bust out here. It's really trying to get above that 176 range and really hit that 208 target. Since earnings is already behind us, thank God, that could always be a crapshoot. We're looking for that potential target again to around 208. I know that's pretty substantial, kind of far off. But that being said, we're looking for support to the downside around the 150. This thing has been a very strange looking stock because it has a run up, trades sideways, runs up, and then trades sideways for the last couple times. So we could just be trading around in this range for a little bit of time to kind of consolidate and potentially get that next move higher. BYND dead. I don't think BYND is dead. Again, I'm a long-term shareholder in that. Looking forward to potentially come down to around 115, potentially to 120. Would like to buy some more there. Shop. We haven't looked at Shop today, actually. So let's look at Shop. Shop looks really strong still. Really short-term positioning here, looking to kind of break above that 1110 range to really hit that target in the short term around 1150 there. Christopher with $3. Thank you, my friend. Thumbs up to you, and thank you for your ongoing support, my friend. But I want to be a farmer, he says. You can be a farmer. You can be a farmer. I took on my wife and I. We did planting of tomato plants, so we turned into farmers as well. Let's see here. Water. We haven't done SC, have we? So we can just do shop, and then we'll just do the Chinese Shopify here. Really had a super strong quarter. Kind of held that pattern around 147. Excuse me, and not holding that 5 and 8 moving averages here. Potentially consolidating here around that 150 range to kind of consolidate, build up momentum, and potentially see that movement to 175. Downside support really coming in around 140 to 137 to the downside there. We have not done NIO either, so let's do NIO. Let's cover all the Chinese stocks here real fast. NIO is a company, the Chinese Tesla, whatever you want to call it, blah, 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 smackety, 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 is a company that is trying to, is doing, and actually has a product, looking for that huge move higher, hit that $20 range, kind of bouncing around here, potentially looking for some consolidation around potentially down to 17 to even 16 for level 1 support. Level 2 support is going to be coming around $15 to $14 range. If either of those levels can hold, potentially it can hold around the $18 to $17 range and kind of do like a cup and handle, start coming back up with some momentum, we could see that $26 range kind of come into play. Thank you, ST Child 3. This Piton, like I said, or with Piton and Spot, especially with Piton, I literally just see people getting these bikes. I see like 2 or 3 a week. Yeah, we can look at the old Microsoft. Yes, we looked at Microsoft, especially with that news. I think they said TikTok is. Let's see if they say anything on here. TikTok deals talks to have slowed down over the China rules update. definitely want to see how this market takes tomorrow. Again, pretty crazy that Microsoft's buying a TikTok company. What it would have just been funny if Twitter would have bought it because they literally had Vine. Like, it's basically this somewhat of the same thing, right? With this huge movement already in Microsoft, the next target, really upside target, is around the $242 range. That is pretty substantial up there. Um, Anything can happen, but again, with this movement, again, the TikTok deal could kind of come into play around. I think they said September 15th again. I haven't, after my memory serves me right. But with Microsoft, this thing looks like a gangbusters again. A lot of it's tied to them getting that deal, them just performing well. Um, but it has had a huge run already. I don't want to say think. I feel like it's just kind of just already had a large move and kind of potentially priced in the TikTok stuff. You just never know until um, the market opens and people kind of start interacting and going for it. So just be very mindful of that. We can do AMD real fast as well. With AMD here, really looking again, I'm bullish on AMD. Full disclosure to around $95. That movement here, looking for some downside support around $80. A little bit longer term support coming around 73. But with the overall upticks of the new PlayStation 5 coming out and just the overall processors and them really just taking Intel's lunch, in lack of better words, we could see some potential higher movers with into the December, which I have basically have the March and April's calls out to next year. Uh, Possible Macy's short-term squeeze, 44% float now, 7 and 10 calls, looks good. 30 esteem cross on the 50-day. Let's look at Macy's. Macy's just M, right? So the first red flag comes up. It has earnings on the horizon, so it's very difficult for me to buy calls into earnings unless I do want to do an earnings run. Since Macy's has literally just taken on water and has been damaged so much, this is definitely one that this could have a surprise and just pop up higher. That being said, this is going to be a very difficult one. And it looks like the $7 is going to be the first leg of overhead resistance. And then, of course, like you talked about, that $10 range as well, basically where the 200 EMA kind of comes into fruition. But let's look on the weekly side here. Ugh, that is, yeah. That's not a pretty chart right there, right? It's just a completely downtrend here. Just not having fun. Really holding that 21 EMA to the downside on the weekly side. Does not have been able. It has breaking above it a couple times, but just giving it right back and just sucked right underneath the water into that black hole of the abyss of the bear market and of Macy's there. Guys, this has been a fantastic stream. Thank you everyone for being positive, coming out. I really do enjoy it. Again, if you're interested, we have a Patreon page. We also have a free Discord if you want to check out that out. It's a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun there, and as well, we have the YouTube membership tab if you want to join and support the channel. Appreciate it. We looked at AMC. AMC is definitely one that has caught a bid and has been kind of pumping higher. But again, it's a movie theater stock, so I'm not really the biggest fan here. Um, really need to start seeing it above $7. We could be consolidating here around the $6 range to potentially see a move higher. But again, not going to be putting my whole life savings into the old AMC. But it's looking like it has some legs to potentially go higher. Let's see here. Wow, the chat's really flying here. Okay. Thank you guys. Let the movie theaters die, alpaca. uh, just don't take my Alamo draft house away. I love my Alamo draft house. OSKT. What is OSKT? Overstock. Okay. Overstock. I kind of have a thumb in my butt with this one, because this is the one that they talked about, like the blockchain and different things like that. It's kind of a little bit of negative connotation to this stock. Um, with this movement, huge movement higher on earnings. It's been ripping higher, kind of hitting that $113 range and kind of just coming back down, potentially consolidating here around $97 to $90 to potentially trade sideways for the next move higher. We are seeing again some really shaky volume coming into the stock to kind of see some potentially just trading sideways here. We are seeing that volumes on oscillator potentially to kick higher, so we could be seeing some interesting activity if it can hold around that 98 to around $90 range. Again, it's a pretty wide range, but as long as the 5 and 8 don't aggressively cross through the 21, that could be yeah, there would be some very bad movement there. I'm sorry, Christopher. I didn't mean to offend anyone there. It's getting late over here on the East Coast. I'm running out of bad ideas. Uh, IIPR, you won't regret, David says. Okay, I hope I don't regret. If it's a penny stock, David, I'm gonna regret it. Okay, it's not a penny stock. Innovative industry. Okay. Are you long it? Are you short it? Let me look here on the weekly side. I like it. I don't regret it, David. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. I'm not sure what they do. What do they do? Hmm. This looks interesting. I like it above 118 here. Potentially next target around the 140ish range there, David, to kind of see how this plays out. I do kind of like this pattern where the volume's kind of drying up here. But since the RSI and volumes on offset are still doing well, I kind of like this actually quite a bit. So be putting some alerts and parameters on this one, and I'm going to add it to the old list. Thank you, my friend. Work. We did work. We can do work again real fast. So work is kind of just still in that penalty box kind of scenario, looking forward to kind of trade sideways since it's in a squeeze. And again, everyone and their mothers just again waiting for that potential UPS, not UPS, United States Postal Service deal to come through. Not saying again they have other. I think they have a backlog of a couple hundred trucks that they're doing for other smaller companies. But that being said, need to start breaking above $18 to be on the to potentially be a breakout, and to the downside we're looking for some support basically around the $15 to $14 range. If it starts breaking below that, the lower parameter of this box, we could see some substantially lower prices to around 10-ish dollars. Alpaca says A apps, please. Since you said please. Uh, okay, this is okay. I think I know this one. This is the okay. Because you see, I did some research on this one already. I think is this the one you asked for Alpaca in the Discord? So with this one, with the previous swing high to previous swing low, we need to start seeing some movement above the $25 range. We are seeing some support really come in here around the 2250ish range, which is great. That little movement there, it's kind of had a what happened? What was it? A bad quarter? It didn't have earnings there. What happened here? Some negative news or something? Was it just the overall downtick of just a lot of the SaaS companies? With this movement down, kind of hitting that 21 EMA, kind of bouncing here, potentially looking for some support around the 22, 22.40-ish range, potentially seeing some movement higher. Would like to see it above 27 to 28 to really see that next time high. I actually really like this chart. This is a good looking chart here as well. So I'm going to add that to the short list. Huge earnings. Huge, he says. Huge. Cyber Geek, we just did Roku. Roku looking pretty interesting in the sense of just kind of consolidating here around the 176 range. It's going to be a really difficult, hard one to judge. We could see the fail here at 176 and then have it come back down to 150. This has been one that has been definitely one to hard to kind of judge because it has a huge run higher, consolidates, huge run higher, and so forth. Alpaca, you did some DD on that. Fish, Ken, have to head out, but thanks again for the stream. I'll catch you later. Thank you, Fish, for joining and the ongoing support. I really do appreciate it, my friend. Definitely a lot of fun. Snap, we just did Snap, maybe like 10 stocks ago. Snap, it kind of went flat. We're looking for some movement higher. I actually like this pattern to potentially see a break to 23 to easily 24.50. If this 5 and 8 can aggressively cross to the 21, we can easily see that 23 to $24 target come in. Kai says, can we do some SPY action? So SPY, yeah. So we did SPY slightly in the beginning. I think we did the beginning of the stream. Beginning of the stream with hitting all-time highs and the futures being up 0.5% as of right now. We're seeing that movement continuing higher. So I have my little colored macaroon here to the downside. Basically, it would be somewhat normal to kind of pull back to the SPY around 337 for that would be considered normal. The yellow would be kind of more cautious, and then red would be around the $300 range, would be kind of scary to the downside. But looking for this trend to continue, overall target on the weekly side is around $371 for the SPY. Zach, we did Spot. Spot is also one that we are looking at, again, for a longer term position. We like I think it's going to get some press due to the fact that I think it was Big or someone else who pointed out, or Fish, I forget who, I apologize, that Joe Rogan's podcast or his stream is starting on the 1st of September. So that's going to be a large movement there within the stock, I think, and we could see some movement above the 288 range. Oh, it's a cannabis company? Oh, I can't touch it. My security clearance won't let me do that. That sucks. That's a good looking chart though. I always have to look it up if it has anything to do with cannabis. That sucks. Thank you though. Jay, can you do O? This is interesting. This is a retail. What do you say this is? A retail income. So this is like a mortgage, retail space leasing company, investment property. Looking like it's had some issues above the 200 EMA. Looks like it's trying to break out here. Potentially, if we can get above that $63 range, we're looking for the target around 66. Let's just call it 67s because we're friends. Looking for that movement. That looks super interesting. I think maybe Zach, I can maybe do a video on it if it does get some traction. I see. I would really look for some options activity. Look on Monday to see what we could see. Yeah, Microsoft's definitely going to pop next week. Microsoft's going to have a huge move. With that support here on the O, the Rental Income Corp. Such a boring company, but it looks like it pays a pretty nice dividend here. Looking for, again, support kind of coming around $61. Looking if this squeeze can fire with the momentum going higher, looking for around $66 to potentially getting back up to $74. So that's a pretty looking interesting stock there. Who was that, Jay? It's a nice stock. I don't know too much about the crypto markets anymore. I've been kind of been out of it since like the 2017 timeframe. Yeah, we have done Apple, so and Tesla. Tesla, we're looking for a price target around 500. If 500 is not met there, we could be looking for around the 430-ish range to even to if it gets really sold off, we could get to around the 375, 380 range. And then Apple, kind of the same premise. Apple's going to really kind of coming in around the 21 EMA to the downside, really for some stronger supports around 115, and then stronger support basically around the 100 to 104 range. Oh, it's a monthly dividend. Yeah, Snowflake's definitely going to be a pretty large company. I think it's going to have a huge run up without a doubt. I actually need to add that to my list to potentially Snowflake IPO. When is that coming out? There hasn't been a date for the Snowflake IPO, right? Um, what does Visa? So we did Visa just a little bit ago. Again, I know I've been streaming for nearly 2.5 hours. So Visa was looking really strong here with that large move higher to get basically breakout to new all-time highs. Um, could be consolidating here around the 214 to 215 days range to potentially see that basically $235 target kind of come into play there. To the upside, downside support is really going to be coming in the short term around 208, and the next support kind of coming around 200 to 202. But again, anything with like the credit card space, the PayPal, the Squares, the fintech kind of stuff, that they're doing very well because again, not many people are using cash anymore. Everyone's ordering everything online, so guys, I really do appreciate everyone coming out again today. If you're interested, we have the Discord link down below, completely free. Join. We have a lot of great conversations there about stocks, different equities, different news articles, and different fun things like that. Just shooting the shit over there. And then we also have the Patreon page if you want to support the channel, different tiers there. We also have the YouTube join button down below next to the subscribe button if you're interested on supporting the channel and potentially learning some other extra various things. David, yeah, the David, that stock looks great. It really does, but I can't buy it. I legally can't buy it. I guess I can legally buy it, but I have to pass some tests. I can't say that I own something. I can't. With Paycom, this is a company that does stuff for members in the sense of for like mid-sized companies. Zach, thank you for the membership. I appreciate it, my friend. So with Paycom, looking for some consolidation around the basically the 293 to 295 range. It's having some issues to try to break above that 303 range. That's the 78.6 percentile previous move here. Looking for some again that squeeze setting up in place. RSI and volume zone oscillator looking pretty prime here to kind of see that movement kick higher. But it has a lot of overhead momentum and needs a breakthrough because we have those falling parabolic SAR dots and that 78.6 percentile move there to potentially break out. To see if this can break above that 303.78 would be a significant move here. If we can get that 5 and 8 follow through the 21, we could easily see that 342 in the next target overhead. Anthony, Wayfair. Yeah, no one's asked about Wayfair, so that's an interesting one as well. Of course, Wayfair had a pretty large sell-off. It looks like I thought it was down further, but it was only down 6%. But that's a pretty large red candle without a doubt. Looking at that chart there, and since the overall pandemic, everyone's been buying online, blah 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 blah. I easily think that this comes down to, if this doesn't hold the 309, we're looking for some next support around 288 for that support level to potentially hold. I don't want to buy I don't want to do an air quotes right now. I don't want to buy the dip due to the fact of this is a pretty large move down. So this is like a large red candle. So anything down 6% a day usually there's some trauma or some kind of issues going on there. Not issues like the companies selling wood with termites in it, but more in the sense of like the overall just a lot of potential shift or trend change. So if it needs to start consolidating, if it can come down to this range around 310 and hold, that'd be fantastic. It can even come down to the lower range around 288. But again, if it really wants to come down, we can come down substantially further and see some completely movement to around 255. But that being said, this looks like something that has been people just taking profits on. It's been a little bit too high up there, potentially to see on how this plays out. But again, don't want to kind of catch the falling knife. Let those people sell. Kind of wait 2 or 3 days after some of the larger red candles have come into play, and just kind of start nibbling on a position there, depending on what your time range is. Let's do Zoom. Yeah, Zoom. So Zoom was one of the stocks that we talked about on our YouTube trading ideas tier membership tier, looking for, and the Patreon page to look for that movement to potentially hit that 307 by earnings. And that movement has really come into play here. We did get out of it here. It was like, what time? Big still on. Big was one of the ones that was trading this with me on the sense of around like, it was like 90 something. I sold it before 300. Because I thought it couldn't hold above like the two. It hit hold right above the 291. It kind of started breaking below it. So it was around like, it was like 290 something, or I don't forget what it was. But we made a nice profit on it because we bought it on the way down a little bit more than I wanted. But now it's making a huge run up. Potentially support kind of coming in overhead around 307. We'll see how that plays out. I think it could have a pretty monstrous quarter, but again, the stock doesn't care what my opinion is. It's just going to matter what the overall numbers are and how the other mass amount of humans react to that stock prices. Zach, one of the newer members to the YouTube stream, thank you, my friend. Intel had a hard quarter with bad news, but still a great chip company. What's your thoughts on AMD and Intel? Zach, great question. So with INTC, I actually do like it still. They are coming out. It's not like they shut down their factories and stopped making computer chips and other various factors for computers. This is looking like we had a bottom, someone in place around $50. It's been building a base here, really nice strong base here. Seeing that 5 and 8 moving averages potentially cross through the 21. We could see some potential large move higher to potential resistance around 52 all the way to $55 if we can really get this thing up and moving here. With that squeeze set in place, the momentum is really shifting to potentially go to the further upside. And same with AMD. AMD is looking really strong around 85 to potentially go to $95. My dad's rubber broke. We did do a rocket, but we can do it for you, my friend. Thank you for joining. So with rocket, we have to go down to like a 4-hour chart to kind of break this down a little bit more. If it can get above that $29-16 range tomorrow, we could easily see a large move higher to around 32. ST Child 3, hold my ZM calls through earnings. I wouldn't. That's my opinion. I don't want to hold. Maybe if you're up a lot, sell majority of it, but calls, depending how long those calls are out, if they're short-dated calls, those could be very. You don't want to be the bag holder of those that theta, that time or IV crush once earning comes out, because the depending on what strike price and if they're out of the money, in the money calls, you could be losing substantially. So with Rocket, again, if it breaks above 29, we could hit 32. Some support, short-term support, coming around the $27 to $26 range. Yeah, wait. Zoom is going to be definitely interesting one to watch. Like, I think a lot of people are going to have to be getting into buying Zoom licenses due to the overall stuff. I just be I don't want to be the one to find out how that works out. Correct, but your earlier comment, David, was about they lease to cannabis companies. Did I read that right, or did I read that wrong? Maybe I thought you said they leased to like cannabis growers. The expected move is going to be huge with the Zoom. Like it's that IV that it's going to suck that premium out of it. But we could get a with. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't predict here. But that in the long term, if you had like, let's say if you had options all the way out in like leaps, that that excuse me, some water. So around the what is that? 356 is my next upside target. But with earnings, it really creates a coin flip. And a lot of these stocks, especially these SaaS companies, even though they're going to be benefiting from a lot of the stay-at-home stuff, I think that still could see some potential selling and things like that. I know CRM blew up and went substantially higher and things like that. And I sold my positions into earnings because, again, I was afraid of these moves, especially with calls. If you had stock, that's a different thing. Like stock, if you had 300 shares of stock, I would still trim a little bit with this, depending on what your long-term horizon is. But yeah, San Diego Sam stocks crystal ball on SCE CEMI. Yeah, that doesn't look really good. That looks like it took on a lot of damage. Huge move down here. Earnings wasn't that great, and this continued trading lower. Potentially, let's do a quick fib here for you. So where's the low in place here? This is the low. Yeah, potentially could be building a base here around, if it starts breaking below $3.23, we could see some substantially lower prices there. Because the 5 and 8 are still kind of pointing down to the ground, so nothing too really to report there. Any word on GP? What's GP? That's not Gap, isn't it? Yeah, since it's a new stock, there's not much information out there. I can't really trade it. There's not much knowledge there. David, thank you for the kind comments, and I appreciate it. The new subscribe. Thank you. Really do appreciate it, guys. Guys, on that note, it is midnight here on the East Coast, and your boy Kenny is getting tired, and I've been going for a little over 2.5 hours. We could do another stream potentially sometime this week, maybe like a midweek update, some things like that. We'll see how that plays out. Definitely, quick little recap for you guys. If you're interested, we have a Discord chat down below, Patreon page, and a YouTube membership to join if you want to support the channel. Let's go ahead and look at the key two stocks that a lot of people showed up for Tesla. Tesla, again, with these splits coming out tomorrow, we'll see a lot of interesting activity. Definitely be a fun one to watch. We'll see some movement here kind of play out potentially to 500. Not sure that's going to happen, but we see some movement to 500 or even short-term support around 412 to even support coming around the 368 there. With that movement, with Apple, with Tesla, anything can happen. Be super mindful of that. Next one is going to be Apple. It's going to be same one, looking for some little bit of an overhead pressure kind of come in on the sense of the 128 range. Since this has been just a completely monster run stock, it's going to be very difficult to see on how this plays out with Apple. Um, Looking for some potentials, even some more price targets around 135. Downside support's really going to be coming in around 120 and even down to 115. So 115 to around 110 is going to be basically a potential buying opportunity in the short term. Longer term perspective would be coming around the $100 range there, guys. Thank you guys again for everyone for showing up. Definitely check out the links down below for the Discord, Patreon, and the YouTube membership tab. I really do appreciate it. We'll be doing some more live streams coming out this week, so stay tuned. And of course, some new fantastic videos as well, breaking down the market and your favorite stocks. Again, guys, have a wonderful evening and a great week, and I hope to see you guys around. Peace.